Well, rain finally stopped. Still up here up top on this mountain. Tell you what, some rough terrain. You know, I'm up here, I'm hiking with all this extra gear on, all this extra weight. And lots of times people hike, might have like a little backpack, fanny pack, whatever. Make sure you have, your snacks and your water in there. But I got 2 spare mags for rifle as well as for my Glock 20. But I'll say this. Plus got water. I got canteen, the rifle, all of its weight. My rifle's way too heavy. I really got to lighten this guy. That flashlight's too heavy, and so is so is that quad rail on there. It's kind of old school. But it's a good rifle. It's always performed. But anyways, I'm just up here and I'm thinking, I'm getting wet. It's just pouring down on me, sweating a little. But at the same time, it's kind of nice because that makes you feel alive. Being up here and doing these things, I mean, it not only is it good for you because you're training. There's lots of great guys out there, lots of great mentors online who Pastor Joe Fox, Viking Preparedness, Shofar Mountain, Bear Independent, on and on and on and on and on. And these guys, man, some of them are retired military. I think Pastor Fox is like special forces or something like that. And he's done some pretty intense stuff. He's trained hard. I tell you what though, living here in Colorado and actually training in the Rockies though is a totally different beast. It's a totally different monster because the weather here is very, very, very bipolar. I'm trying to think of a nice way to describe it, but it's not nice. It is nice. The weather's great. Sun, lots of sunshine and stuff. But in the mountains, in the Rockies, you just get these random, out of nowhere, boom, rainstorm. And it's here and then it's gone. But man, when you look at this, let me see if I can do a better kind of image here. Just kind of, ooh, here I am just kind of stalking behind these 2 trees. When you really kind of see what's going on here in the terrain, you can see all of that, those rocks and those mountains behind me, as well as over here. Now see, all of those are south-facing slopes, and so they're not going to have as much vegetation and trees. It's more desert-like because they get so much sunshine. I'm actually completely opposite on a north-facing slope, so it's more densely wooded. My property, this part of my property is all north-facing, so it doesn't get a ton of direct heat all year round, so you get a lot of stuff growing. But man, when you look at this stuff, like I said, I mean, this is like like the mountains of Afghanistan kind of a deal. Really rough terrain, lots of things that are sharp. The rocks are sharp, the trees are sharp, the animals are sharp, they have sharp teeth. The rain can be sharp, so can the snow. If you get what I'm saying. But this is good because when you actually do this, do these kind of things, you learn. I'm not up here like trying to be Rambo. I'm just a guy, like some dude who wants to better himself so that it's just the dog. He's down there. I don't know what he's doing, getting into the camper or something. But you want to do these things. You want to try and be better. I have a wife, beautiful wife, and I have a wonderful little boy, 20-month-old, and I've got another little boy on the way. He'll be here real soon. And as their father, I want them, if anything ever did happen, I'm not saying that it will. I'm not saying it won't. But if, whatever, without rule of law, crap's hitting the fan, I want them to know that, or at least hopefully think and feel that their father would be at least a little more capable than maybe most men nowadays. And that's not, I'm not bashing anyone. It's the honest God truth. I mean, I'll give you a great example. Up here on top of my property, it is a brutal hike to the top of this mountain. No roads. Up on top of the property, there's an old fence line with fence posts. No joke. Hold up, let's see. Probably about as thick as that tree, some of them. That tree. About as thick as that tree right there. And, they're not that tall, obviously, but they're thick, they're burly, whatever. 5 feet tall, 6 feet tall. And there's barbed wire. Old stuff. The point is that some people, a long time ago, because it's not treated lumber. It's literally a homemade fence line. Some people drug their equipment, their tools. They might have drugged the actual fence posts. I doubt it. They probably just cut trees up there. They drug that stuff up to the top of this mountain. They dug those holes, and it's a big, long fence line. They dug those holes, and they put it in, man. Those were some rugged individuals. I let my son watch Little House on the Prairie all the time. Charles Ingalls, he's the man. And, it's a show, whatever. But the thing is that show is actually based off of books from Laura Ingalls, the daughter. She wrote a whole bunch of journals and things like that, and then there was books made from her journals. Now, some things might be fictitious, but the character, the strength of her father and her mother, just the whole family in general, herself, man, they had integrity, they had strength, they had, willpower, they had just good old-fashioned work ethic in spades compared to us nowadays. Because unfortunately, a lot of us are, docile, dormant. Oh, here comes something. We're lazy. We don't get out here because unfortunately, it's just, life is comfortable in a city, life is comfortable in the suburbs. It can be comfortable in urban life. You can waste away in your lazy boy. Even if you're out, in the rural life, that can happen. But to get out here and do these things and try, I'm nowhere near as strong, and I have nowhere near the fortitude, the work ethic that those people had. But I want to inspire too. I want to do these kinds of things. I want to get better at these kinds of things because, how do you eat an elephant? Starts with the first bite, right? That's how you eat the elephant. You gotta start with the first bite. You gotta start somewhere. So, I know this video's gone a little long, kind of a rant. Not really a rant, just kind of a insight into my mentality. Those people, man, 1800s and stuff. We're just a couple hundred years removed, thereabouts, 100, 150. Even just 100 years ago, turn of the century, man, those people, they knew how to build things. Like, okay, they literally would just move their whole family in a wagon. You know how hard that would be? And they would hunt, and they just go out and they just find land like this, like where that fence is. And they would just be like, either we do it or we die. Either we do the hard stuff or we die. My family perishes. Now, there's also a really good point to be made here about you can't do those things always on your own. You need to be strong. You need to be fortified. You need to have that work ethic. You need to have that mentality. Like, you need to gain knowledge of how to make stuff. Gain knowledge of how to, farm, how to build a house. Get books on these things. There's stuff all over the internet, but books you can take with you anywhere, even if you don't have service. But the thing is that these people were very strong. They had the willpower of like 100 people nowadays combined into one person. But at the same time, they understood there's also an importance in community, because you couldn't just always go, and there's a lot of things you can't do on your own. If the balloon ever went up, you're not going to be able to, at least not for very long, be like a lone wolf kind of a guy. There's all kinds of videos on this. Or if it's just you and your family, and it's going to be really hard, really tough. So finding other people who want to do the same kind of things is kind of one of my goals. I want to meet other people who think this way and who want to do their best to train, and who want to do their best to better themselves, not just for themselves, but also for their family. So this video is, I know it's long, and I said a lot here, but I just had to get those things off my mind. If this video helps anybody out, friends, family, if I put this online, and it helps people, then good. I'm very happy that I did this. Because again, I'm up here, it's getting soaked, and my gear's getting wet. But that's how you learn. While I'm walking, things are falling off or breaking down or whatever. That's how you learn. Like, you have to test things. You have to put your hands on things. I've heard people talk about, in the military, like the best time to train is when it's raining and cold or really hot, or, in this kind of terrain. But that's why they do those things. That's why they, they ruck a lot. That's why they do all kinds of, what is that, like, where they learn how to escape, capture, and things like that, evade, capture, or if they're down behind enemy lines or whatever. But these things, unless you get out and start to learn and start to actually put your hands on gear and get the gear wet, get yourself wet, I'm speaking to myself here, then you're not gonna, whenever you do need to do those things, like when it like really matters, you might be okay, but it's gonna be a lot harder. There's a whole lot of evidence about, like repetition. For example, even just like working a gun, and you're pulling the trigger and learning the brake and all kinds of things. And the more you do it, the more it just becomes second nature. It's literally like riding a bike, but at the same time with firearms, you need to train at least once a month, or else you can lose some of those skills. But yeah, working that slide, whatever, mag change, reload, whatever you gotta do. Whenever you just do those things like all the time, it's just kind of like brushing your teeth. You just kind of do it. You know exactly how to turn the brush, what spots to hit. It just happens naturally. And, you could brush your teeth in the dark, right? Yeah. Well, you want to be able to run your gun in the dark too. You want to be able to just know by feel how to do those things. So anyways, hope that this has helped somebody, and I just really think that, the more people that do this, the better off we'll be. The happier we'll be, the healthier we'll be. There's nothing wrong with getting out and arming yourself and just having a good time and being safe about it, and training your family and your loved ones. And that's that.